the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll call the January 16th, 2020 Village Board meeting to order. Roll call shows Attorney Sorensen has been excused. Number 3, agenda changes. Are there any? 4, consent agenda. A, December 19th, 2019 regular board minutes. B, licenses and permits, operators licenses as presented. Temporary Class B retailer's license as presented. Temporary operators licenses as presented. And C is presentation of accounts and other claims against the village as presented. Are there any questions?
I have a question about a voucher, and I want to make sure that it's clear. So the purchase of the used HRCP program is not any kind of infringement of copyright or any kind of licensing? Okay, I just want to be certain, and that's not going to hinder your ability. Okay.
No, she has the credentials for login yet. It's active till October of this year, which I would like to have it completed by, and then it's a separate entity or a separate purchase for the testing portal. So.
And then I did not sign that voucher because I had a question on it, so I will need to sign that voucher yet. Okay. Okay. And then also, there's one of these on the voucher listing is for myself. It's a tax refund. So would it be just best to pull it or to just abstain from the vote altogether? Because I was also not here for the last board meeting, so I wouldn't be able to do the meeting minutes.
I would just abstain.
Abstain from the whole works, okay. That was my question.
If there are no other questions, could we have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Abstain?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. 5 is pre-registered citizens to be heard.
Cornelius Charles, 812 West Main Street.
Well, it kind of has to do with new business number A, or letter A.
Okay.
So you can comment now if you guys want, or during that.
Do you want to wait?
Can we just withhold his comments until we get to that? I think that's fair.
Okay. We will then go to committee reports, library board.
We had a meeting last Tuesday, I believe it was.
Yes.
And we planned for Ally's review. We asked the staff to each fill out a questionnaire. We did that last year too, and it was well received by Ally as well as the staff, and I think that might be something we want to keep in mind for the future for, use village-wide, maybe with department heads, administrator, that type of thing. I think it's a good feedback tool. So we asked for feedback from the staff on that. Also had a discussion about ADA compliance issues. There's some with the shelving that is in there now. It was purchased from a law firm, so it's much wider than it needs to be. So it's hard for people that use wheelchairs and strollers and things to get around. So that was something that we briefly talked about. And that's about it.
We will then move to number 7, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there is none. Number 8, new business. A, operator's license, Cornelius M. Charles, Dollar General.
I could take this one, if you like.
Okay.
Okay, this one here, the operator's license for Cornelius M. Charles for the Dollar General was denied. Reason being is the form that they complete, where there's the felonies and the misdemeanors that need to be listed, and there was nothing that was listed. the first paragraph says that that the undersigned affirmed that I have given complete and true answers and understanding that my past record will be part of this application. So, like we do with all the rest of them, we do a background check, and we came up with a charge that should be listed in there, so therefore we deny them.
Okay, did you want to speak?
Yeah. I didn't list the charge because I wasn't charged for it. They supposed to have been dismissed it,
Okay, Chris?
and it was from 2017.
Yep, 2017, possession of THC, misdemeanor, guilty due to no contest plea. That's the
It-
information
it
that we
was
received.
Because I had someone else in my car that had it, and I didn't know nothing about it. And I was just driving without license.
Well, the only thing that we could possibly do is, I mean, I can contact Fond du Lac, because Fond du Lac is the jurisdiction that had stopped you, and get a full report from them.
Yes, that's where I was.
And get some additional
residing at the time.
information, but that's gonna take some time to get that back from them too.
So you're able to do that, and then at that point, report back to
Mhm.
Mr. Charles, okay? Not to us, because that's his information, right?
Mhm.
Okay. That the next step would be,
That's up to you guys. This is the information that we have, this is what's reported to the state, this is the information that is given in a criminal history, and it clearly says guilty due to no contest. It also goes on to say that he was ordered to pay $200 unpaid court obligations. He had to take a DNA test and everything. So there's nothing in here,
I didn't have to take nothing.
right, but there's no, what I'm saying is there's nothing in here that says something different. And if those charges would have been dismissed, they would have been listed in here. So I don't know if you want that to be on his, for him to clear his record, or if I should take that time and see if his record, if he's telling us that was the case.
I feel like we're limited to whatever we're provided by the state, right? So our process is to pull the details that are provided by the state and use that as gospel.
Right.
So if there's wrong information, I don't know that that's our duty to resolve. And I think that's a slippery slope for us to go into if someone says, well, that's not right.
It's kind of like a credit report. you
Right.
know?
is that information you have available that you
No,
could give to us?
I never kept anything because it was dismissed.
If he went to Fond du Lac and provided that to you, does that change anything?
Well, they would have to change it
In the system.
In the system. And once they change it into the system and it shows that it's been changed, I mean, at that point, then
Reapply.
the problem is that, I mean, even if it says here, it says all traffic and non-traffic violations, felony and misdemeanors within the past 10 years. But then in the second row, it says status, pending charges, guilty, dismissed in a plea deal. It should have been listed on this
Either
form
way.
to begin with, either way, and it wasn't.
So are
So
we
his
looking
recourse, I'm sorry,
Are we looking at him clearing this and reapplying?
That would be my suggestion.
Is that something the board would be willing to do?
Absolutely.
I think that's, we have to do it that way. I think we have to take our standard process and take it for what it is. That's what it is.
I think we tabled it till that time.
I mean, the approval or disapproval falls on the police department, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so it would default back to what your current policy is. Because when you approve or disapprove it, then it comes to us. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's really our place to,
No, I would think that he would have to reapply once he knows that it was taken care of.
So do you understand what you have to do then? And
Yes, I understand, but I don't have time to go out there because I'm working and I have time. I gotta spend time with my kids at the same time, so I don't have time to go out there and try to do. I work full full-time and I'm a full-time parent.
Which means our hands are kind of tied then. If you can't clear it and reapply, then we can't look at it
So what
again.
about my reimbursement for the money that I paid?
Indicate right on the form.
It does, it indicates on the form, it says if your application should be denied, by the village board, fees are non-refundable and you cannot reapply until 1 year after denial.
Okay. That's it.
We'll now move on to B, R-1-20, Reserve Fund alterations.
So you're gonna answer?
Oh, sorry.
What, sleeping?
No. So I printed it out for you guys, a new one, an updated one, R-120. It was, should have been at your seat. The funds that are there right now, the current ones that would be returned to unassigned are reassessment reserve fund. Reassessment is already paid for through our budgeting process, so we don't need the reserve fund for that. So we can return that from assigned to unassigned. County payroll utility program was paid for in 2018. That was never used. It never used the actual funds that it was supposed to actually pay for it. We just paid for it out of our budget and didn't allocate it correctly in our, during the audit time. Cemetery maintenance program, same thing. Ambulance subsidy reserve, is a kind of just $280 that was sitting in there since 2014. That would be returned to unassigned funds. So it's not losing or gaining money, it's just assigned and unassigned. Combining some reserve funds. Basically, the grand scheme of things, it would be combining for the police into one or two funds they would have for reserve. One would be donations, and the other would be their police equipment used. Everything has to be approved by the board anyway, so it would just be unassigned to a specific project like we have in the past. It gives your department heads a little more flexibility in the changing atmosphere of the village and our needs here. Capital projects fund, same thing, would be combining those for a future projects fund, which we currently have, so it would be adding those funds to it. And same with the event and downtown funds, which is meant for the reconstruction of downtown to the future projects fund. And then the printout behind shows you what that new reserve funds would look like.
This might sound like a stupid question, Nathan,
Yep.
but, so if we're taking monies, like, okay, let's just use an ambulance subsidy reserve, just out of curiosity, and we zero that out because we're gonna be putting that as unassigned, do we keep, and maybe this is a Jane question, do we keep then just a zero balance reserve account there for future, or is it just gone and
Reserve
we would
account.
have to recreate a reserve?
Our current reserve accounts are all theoretical.
Okay. So it's not like we need to do
It's through the
anything.
auditors more, and we have a certain percentage of our fund balance that needs to be unassigned and certain assigned. Well, not any assigned
Okay.
necessarily, we don't need it, but it's something that the village board can assign to create a reserve fund if they
Okay.
need it for a certain.
So do we need to create a reserve fund, or is that at the discretion of the village office, office staff, they can, like, if you guys,
That's all on.
that's all on us, okay.
If you-
I just
if
don't wanna
you
forget
want.
about this at budget time, if there's monies left over on something, knock on wood, that we, cause I remember with the library, we had something, we had a reserve fund out there, didn't we? And that we had put money in there at one point, but I just wanna make sure,
And on the current one, it shows what it would be at after this year's budget. 'Cause
Okay.
they budgeted 24,000 for this year, or the number, I can't remember the exact number, but it's around that. So that, the number that's in the library fund right now is purely donations.
Okay.
Should be close to.
Okay, essential from.
Roll
Very
call.
Aye.
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 Motion carried.
It's just the January of 2020 down here. I don't know if you need to change
Oh.
that
Oh, yeah.
little.
Good catch. Pat.
With amendment.
Just saw that, sorry, thank you.
C is R-2-20 fee schedule changes.
So that one is where you would be changing our tobacco license from 25 to 50. Most other municipalities pay to make it 100. It's not significant budget wise, but, because we have 2 places that sell, oh, 4 now? 4 that sell cigarettes. But we just kind of wanted to push it up because it's been at 25 forever.
Yes, when Dollar General applied for their tobacco license, they're like, wow, that's really a low fee.
Thanks for pointing
Thank you,
that out.
thank you, thanks for help.
I think Appleton charges 100, so.
The annual publication fee is for our liquor license. That is dropping from 45 per person or so to 4. That's based on the switch from Post Crescent to the New London Star. We can't make profit off of it, we have to go with cost. And that's the same thing with the single publication fee, is dropping from $118 to $15. Those are for just the liquor licensing. And then direct seller's permit, we increased by $100.
150.
150.
This one needs a date change too on the
Yeah.
bottom.
Any questions? If not, we will need a motion.
I'll move to approve R-02-20, resolution amending current fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. D, citizen reimbursement request.
I'll take this one. I think, at the committee of the whole, the committee agreed to $150 for the pump and $25 for install, for a total of $175, for pain and suffering, I guess, for some pump running, so. Am I correct on that? Yeah.
You are correct, and with the laid out, the road there and the way the water line was.
Again, it's through no fault of their own, they just happen to be at the bottom of the hill, so. Okay. I think everybody was here for that, right?
No, I
Oh, you
wasn't
weren't
here for the discussion.
The resident there is at the lower end of the hill we've had several lateral leaks, and the water always migrates towards their basement, and their sump pump had ran quite a bit, and, they had asked for a complete new system. And I guess the committee agreed just to reimburse basically the cost of a pump, so
Okay,
that's pretty much it.
thank you.
So I think we're just looking for a motion, right?
Motion to reimburse $175 to document that suffered from water leak.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. E, ECWRPC contract, comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, court update.
I'll take that one as well. That's for East Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. What it is they're gonna update, they gave us a contract proposal for updating our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. I call it park plan. Again, it's a comprehensive plan that takes a look at all of our outdoor facilities and uses, and as part of the update, they're going to come in and help us. You guys have that in your packet, the contract. It's quite the process. It's going to take all summer, and they're looking to enlist, they asked for the Public Works Committee, but I want to leave that up to you guys. I think it should almost be a committee of the whole, and those that can attend these meetings should, because this is important. Again, this plan is important. We needed this plan to apply for that last multimodal grant. We have to have this plan in place to get DNR grants,
True City.
you name it. It's very important, just like all of our comprehensive plans. They're quite lengthy in the process, but we have to do it. So, again, I'm just looking for a motion to approve the contract with East Central. It is a reduced price contract. If we were to go out to an engineering firm, it'd be much higher, so, yeah.
I just had a question on it. In a couple places it says Village Park and Rec Committee.
Yeah, they don't, well, that's a standard contract. I wouldn't get too hung up on that, because every town has different names for their
Right.
committees and groups, and, so when it talks about timeline, getting, these committees together, I think we, like I said, instead of naming Public Works Committee or the Parks Committee or the Urban Forestry Board, we should just make it a committee of the whole meeting. There's not a lot of them. There might be one a month, maybe. But it's, like I said, it's very important, so.
I think it'd be nice to get input from citizens, if we could make it a big deal.
We can make it a big deal.
Yeah,
And there will be
because-
surveys, there will be public
Yeah,
surveys,
I saw that, yeah.
mailed ones plus online.
Mhm.
We got a lot of participation last time.
Mhm.
And a few board members drop out after a couple of meetings, but they'll do it right. They know what they're
Okay.
doing. They're good at that, so.
Okay.
Does this include, and maybe I missed it, it includes Otto Miller Park?
It includes all of our properties.
Okay, so would we consider maybe having somebody from Hortonville Youth or even
In the
Hortonville?
schools.
Because Hortonville Youth Sports is a different entity and Hortonville Area School District, but they use those facilities.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, what, just their input on, because maybe they see a vision of where they want to invest some money in the future too.
yeah, and that'll be something when we hold our kickoff meeting. We'll decide who to invite and that kind of stuff. But, you know, there's several HYS members that live in town. I don't know, we could certainly let Todd Tim know, and,
Because he might even send like someone like Sam England, the activities director, who's
Yeah.
new to that position, but I think that would be a good way for him to get to know that facility too.
yeah. And again, it's a comprehensive plan, look at the whole
Yeah.
picture. It also deals with trails and stuff like that,
Mhm.
so, bike lanes. So. Very important. I just wanted to change the dates on the old one, but they said they can't do it, so you gotta go through the process again. Again, just looking for a motion to approve the Central Wisconsin Regional
Okay.
Planning Commission contract.
I'll make a motion to approve, oh, do you have another question, Dan?
Well, just, the expense on that then?
It's in the budget.
Good.
It's not, is it on there? It's
3,500.
3,500.
Two
Okay,
installments
so-
of $17.50.
We have money in planning for that, so. And again, that's a reduced price. If we were to, engineering firms, they'll do this for you as well, you know, McMahon, MSA, all that, but I don't think we'll get it for 35. So. They do a great job.
No, okay.
I'm good.
You're good. I'll make a motion to approve the East Central Wisconsin, is it Regional Planning or ECWRPC contract for the Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan update in the amount of $3,500.
I'll second.
Roll call? Dan?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion carried. F, streetlight request,
I'll take-
323 East Main Street.
I'll take this one as well. In the memo I handed out, there's on the second page, we're talking about street light request. The committee of the whole, I'm guessing agrees with the idea of placing a street light there for safety reasons. Public Works will find the money within its budget to pay for that.
It's a temporary move.
Probably until 2026, 5 or 6,
Yeah.
depending on when we start reconstruct of downtown and Main Street. So we'd likely carry decorative street lighting from downtown all the way out past the grocery store. So.
I'll make a motion to approve the street light request in the amount of approximately $2,800.
Yeah, they never give you an exact price, sorry.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. G, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? If there are none, we will move to 9, report of village officials, administrator.
Take them down, pass it around, please. A lot of this information that you're getting on the sheet was covered in the committee, the whole process as well, but I'll just touch on it again. Once everybody gets their sheets, there should be enough to go all the way around. As Carl talked about, the MLS grant was submitted on behalf of the village. This was the $75 million sitting out there that Governor Evers hung out there. We submitted our grant in December. And in red is the update. So as of last week, 1,596 applications were received by the DOT, totaling $1.47 billion. The award announcements are expected in late February. I'm not going to rule out our chances. We just know that we're up against a strong opposition force here, opposing force. The good news is we haven't shared them with you yet, but the renditions and the renderings that they did deliver to the village are actually a really good start for what we will need for this downtown restoration. So having a contractor like MSA on board, and really starting the process of what's gonna happen to that thoroughfare, we don't lose on that money that the village invested. So it's actually, just to start putting some ideas on paper, it was worth it. If we get lucky and get some money out of this, we're gonna be very fortunate, put it that way. I don't think anybody going into the process knew that we were gonna see this kind of, that's unheard of, that kind of activity. So, more to come. I gave you the S.C. Swiderski update in the committee of the whole meeting. I wanted to put it there because it's really not for publication, but I wanted to make you all aware of it. TID4 update, as of this week, happy to announce that there are 2 completed basements on Brookwood Drive, and they are getting ready to, it's happening fast. So, fairly nice homes, about 1,800, from what I take, 1,680 square feet, 3-car, a garage attached on both of them. So they're not building a downgraded model. These are nice models that they're putting into that subdivision. Community development, we did meet with Keller Structures, to discuss the senior activity center / Legion facility. We are expecting to see that essentially the first rendition on the 24th of this month. Again, as I stated earlier, the Legion has verbally committed a financial commitment on the building if they're involved with the design and the build out. Getting back to some cleanup business, the fire station refinance was completed on 12/30/2019. I did tell you about our volunteer list. We have approximately 12 volunteer drivers as we speak, 2 citizens at large, 10 members of the Legion Auxiliary. We're expecting to launch in April. I can't take any credit for it, but what's the name of our committee, the lunchroom committee? What's that? VPP. All the money that's generated and made profit in the lunchroom puts out a nice meal for the village staff, and that was this past Wednesday. That was coordinated by Lisa and Pat in the library and Christina and Julie Shu. So thank you to them. Everybody's still eating leftovers because it was catered from Olive Garden. And then today I did attend the Connect Community webinar, Engaging Businesses and Employers for Volunteerism and Inclusion. That's all I have. Is there questions for me?
If there are no questions, we'll move to B, Clerk Treasurer.
The state has certified 3 candidates for Justice of the Supreme Court, so there will be a statewide primary on Tuesday, February 18th. And there are 5 candidates for village trustee that qualified for ballot placement. That would be Julie, Pat, Shauna, Gerald Flunker, and Al Habit.
Any questions for Jane? Now we'll move to C, Director of Public Works.
Just a couple. We had our annual winter meeting with the Outagaming County Highway Department. Reviewed some of their projects going on this summer. Not much on this side of the county. Again, just good to get out there and meet all the other highway departments and utilities from the other towns. Met with Greenville, some of their new people there. They've had some turnover there. And we're also, with David's help, we're going to be moving forward with projects I got planned for this summer. The overlay of Birch Street, 300 block, the overlay of 100 block Rick Street, and sewer main and water laterals on the 200 block of Rick Street, and possibly East Cedar Street water main replacement, depending on where that stuff comes in. These are just some of the projects that were in capital plan. Our plow truck came in, it's all rigged up, ready to go. Our second plow truck. So, one of the things we did find out at the county is something about we haven't been paying our fair share for paying to have the parking lanes plowed. So we're not going to plow our parking lanes on Main Street in town anymore. I don't know how they're going to avoid it with their wing, but so I guess we're going to have to go down the street and get close to the curb and push it over. So,
well, essentially, it's going to be a little bit more work, but we can control the plowing. So essentially, for your sake, even if we have a monster storm, we can control what's going to go onto your sidewalk.
There's no parking in front of my house.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's still a
But
parking lane
There's a
there.
lane there though, the turn lane
Wow.
actually.
Yes.
they consider
That's
So
that.
what they're
Yeah.
saying is we're only gonna go from the center line to 2 drive lanes. That's what they want to plow, and they wanna leave the rest.
Wow,
Don't we have
So-
any connections there anymore?
yeah, don't you have strings to pull?
So,
Well, Main Street is,
Send them a fruit
State
basket.
Highway 15, so this is the state's policy.
Oh, okay.
we'll take care of it.
Okay,
We're gonna have good plowing.
interesting.
There's no talk
So-
goes down my road, never puts a blade down, not once.
Well, I've seen them. We had sidewalks clean and they'll
Not once do
come
they put
and
the blade down on our
blast
road.
it, you know.
They
So
drive.
anyways,
They just go up and down, but they never put the
the
blade.
county's been
Take it
tightening
back.
up a little bit every year. They have to do what they have to do, we have to do what we have to do.
Well, yesterday,
They paid big retirements and stuff.
You know, there's county guys.
We do the same thing with cities.
I'll tell you the rest of the story later.
That's all I have unless somebody has a question for me. I'm sure there's more.
I have an off-the-wall question, only because it got brought up to me recently. Do we still have an agreement with the town of Clayton?
Yes, we do.
So we still receive funds from them, or are we receiving any waste from
No,
them?
no, we're not.
Never receive waste.
Never received waste, but we still receive funding.
Yes.
It's a,
That's the best kind of.
it's, yeah.
I was
don't know.
curious,
Yeah.
it got brought up, somebody was just, because it was somebody from the town of Clayton
It's,
questioning if we
it's a
still have
lever, it's
agreement.
insurance and, for them in case they have to do something.
Okay,
They are still building that process. They're-
Okay.
They're building
They wanna have their own system eventually,
Mhm.
collection system and plant. It just takes time and when you're dealing with, annexations and threats of annexations, you know,
Lawsuits.
and our agreement is
Lawsuits.
that even if they don't haul any
a
sewage
minimum is
here, we still get the
25,
money.
yeah.
Okay,
I
it was actually a
I don't feel
citizen,
bad, but, yeah. we can-
Actually, I'll make a
it was
note
a
and see if
citizen
they
from the
paid
town
us.
of Clayton, actually.
If not, send a bill.
I think we're due for a payment soon.
Well, no, it was actually a citizen from the town of Clayton who knew about this agreement, and they were curious because of annexations, and they wanted to know if we still were in that.
You know,
And
like I
think
said,
we were.
I'm willing to let them bring stuff over here,
Yeah.
but we can't handle their whole city when they're up and running, so they're gonna have to do something. We're just a stopgap. You know, unfortunately with all these rains, our I&I is
Yeah.
through the roof. So I don't know how much we'd be able to accept anyways, because we get so much water everywhere,
Okay.
so.
They tried to steal Nathan anyway, so they called, and they thought they were talking to Nathan, they were talking to me about a job, so we're gonna try to get their payment one more time. I think it was a 3-year contract, right?
Nathan knows nothing
It was
about
something, and it was,
Yeah.
like I said, it was a citizen who was concerned about annexation and wanted to know if they still had that in place. It was kind of a.
It's leverage in
Okay,
court of law or
All right.
something like that, so.
that's what I needed to know, thank you.
We will now move to D, Police Chief.
I printed out the calls for service for December. We had a total of 380 calls or screen started. Not a whole lot going on. We were talking about the burglaries and the thefts. We got storage units that are being broken into, happening all over the place. So if you have a storage unit, I advise you to make sure that your lock is on it. Don't drive by it assuming that everything's all good, because they're breaking them either off and putting them back so that they look like they're okay, and or you're replacing them with a totally different lock.
Get insurance.
So yeah, so there's been a lot of burglary and thefts of storage units. So. That's a 911 calls. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook that I put something out there, but, you know, we're just trying to cut down on them a little bit. However, one agency wasn't dispatched to one of the 911 calls. That's why it's very important to stay on the phone, talk to the dispatcher, because the dispatcher at that point can determine whether or not, you know, that they spoke with you, and that it's a legit 911 call. And we're just, with the smartwatches and all the gadgets that are out there, they're dialing 911, so, yeah. And then the second form that I sent out, this is compliments of Nathan, it's our parking ticket income. And this was for 2019. Yours didn't come out as pretty as mine did. The the high one where it spikes up, that's 2019. Oh. You can see the total difference, and a lot of it has to do with, we changed it, from $5 to $20, so. And what did they have last month, 48 parking tickets? Any questions?
Yes. Crime prevention, 47.
Mhm.
How much of that is attributed to cottages up on Main?
None of it is.
None?
No. If we get dispatched to cottages on Main, it's gonna usually be for like a welfare check. Like a lot of our welfare checks are schools contacting law enforcement because somebody has been truant for so many days, things like that. The crime preventions are gonna be screens that are started for, like, when I go out and I do school traffic in the morning, I start a crime prevention screen, or I start a traffic safety
Oh,
screen,
okay.
one or the other. So if the crime preventions are gonna be basically, if somebody goes into that storage unit, and they drive through the storage unit area, that's gonna be a crime prevention.
How many of the calls that you've answered up there at cottages on Main in the last year, would you say it's decreased by 50% or more?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes. I would say probably by 90%.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, we have Jessica that works, she's the property manager.
Mm-hmm.
Her and I have a very good working relationship.
Excellent.
As do I. I spoke to her this week about Christmas trees.
So the welfare check, that's all like truancy from school, or
No.
what else is that encompass?
Any type of thing, say for instance, somebody has been trying to get a hold of their loved one, and they've been calling and calling and calling, and they can't get a hold of them, that would be a welfare check.
Okay,
So, but a welfare check could be a truancy of a child, not going to school.
okay.
But
Kind of like Sharon does.
you could fall under there.
Yeah. I've been watching too much Shameless. I'm like, welfare check. I'm like, somebody didn't get their welfare check, so they called us.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, what, 10 people?
Hey, where's my
Really?
check?
Yeah.
If your officers respond to a situation where an older person has fallen and they have to assist,
That would be a medical.
and do you do any follow-up with the family, or can you not? Is that a violation of confidentiality?
And I think that it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do anything with the family. Most of the times that they're falling is we're helping out, at either one of the places here at Care Partners or on John Street. Not very many falls in the homes, but we can't contact the
That's what I
family.
said, okay. They phone out anyway, but I was just,
Yep.
which was a good thing.
So,
It was good that your officer was there.
the parking, where are most of these coming from? I mean, I see it December, you went straight up. Is it?
It's parking on the
$5.
street overnight.
Yeah, I assume it's winter parking, but, I mean, it's just all over the village?
All over the village.
Okay,
I know that Tyler Hayden drives every street from 3 to 6.
okay, and he just puts tickets on anybody that's parked outside?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, that's good. I was gonna give kudos. He's out doing it. He's
Yeah.
out in this squad. He's on the street,
Yeah.
so.
okay.
The-
Should also maybe check on sidewalks that are not shoveled.
And we've been looking at some of those. Those are hard for us to see driving down the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do kind of keep an eye out for those. We posted something on Facebook on that too.
Because you do see people walking and there's sidewalks not shoveled and, they have 24 hours, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that might be something we could look at too in the senior committee, is if it's somebody who cannot shovel their sidewalk or needs some assistance, that would be something we could maybe follow up on.
Chief, did you meet with the school district at all to talk about the parking in the loops?
We did. So we had, Brian and I and a lot of the school board members had a meeting, and that had come up about, it doesn't seem like they don't mind that they're parking and they're staying in their cars if they're in the, you have the school year. So it's this area here, but when it comes here, because the kids have to dart through, and that's when they're almost struck. So anybody that's parked there, and whether it's unattended or attended, they can get a parking ticket, and we've been given the blessing to write parking tickets.
Where?
Any of the school, the middle school and the elementary school, both of the ring,
Mm-hmm.
where it says no
Drop off
park,
or
right,
whatever.
right.
So they're not pulled up to the curb and they're pulled into the grassy area. If they got out of their vehicle and they're in the grass, that would get a ticket even if.
Even if they're in their vehicle.
Cause
So-
it's not safe.
Yeah, but
Right, the inside, so the inside of the ring, so you have the school here, okay, and this is the middle school, and then you have the ring that goes here. So when the cars are coming in the morning and in the afternoon, they're coming in and they're either dropping off the kids and they're picking up. But they can't park here at all, whether it's attended or unattended, because what's happening is the children are running between them and they're almost getting struck by somebody who's pulling out
Mm-hmm.
to come around. So anybody that's parked in that bottom portion, whether it's
Small
attended or
ring.
unattended, gets a ticket because the sign says no parking at any time.
And I have heard good things.
It prevents the buses too, because there's buses that pick up kids with special needs or pick up kids to go to
Yep.
games. And they can't get through it because now that curve is so tight and the bus doesn't fit it.
Yeah.
Well, and
We're-
how this all came up was, we had, when the child was struck by the vehicle a couple months ago, the fire truck that showed up, it was just a rescue truck that had showed up. I'm not sure why he was dispatched anyway. But he was having a difficult time trying to get in there and trying to park. So in the beginning of spring, they're gonna look at, and they're trying to figure out what the fire lane footage has to be per code to see where they're gonna paint the red lines, and nobody will be able to park in there at all. So, and then after school events, say for instance, if there's a volleyball game up there right now and they're parked, they're getting parking tickets
Right now or later?
right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the problem, well, moving forward with that is that, the loop's not big enough. I mean, both my kids are in the middle school and my daughter's in volleyball, and volleyball gets out, and, I mean, there's nowhere near enough.
No.
There's nowhere near enough space in that loop for even a third of the parents to get in to pick up their kids.
No.
I mean, I park
and
across
agree.
the street, because I'll go to the game, so I'll park in the high school parking lot, and then walk over there, but I come out and it's just jammed because,
And people don't wanna use the parking lot on the middle school because they can't get out on town
But-
off of Warner.
but
because
the
the
school
traffic.
tells them, don't use the other parking lot either.
No, the school says, all the
No.
emails I have says you should use that parking
No,
lot.
the school says, do not drop your kids off or pick your kids up at the other parking lot.
At the high
If they're in the
school,
middle
drop
school,
them
so
off.
don't go to the high school parking lot and drop your kids off or pick them up.
They don't want them at the stop sign, but they don't want them, like if an older sibling brings them, like my daughter will bring our two kids, the kids are allowed to be dropped off in the high school lot, then they walk across in the crosswalk. They're allowed to do that. It's that they don't want people dropping their kids off when they're stopped at the stop sign. People are stopping at the stop sign,
Right.
putting their car in park, letting their kids get out and run out.
Right.
They're encouraging parents to use the middle school lot and the high school lot.
That's not the correspondence that I received from them.
I didn't.
I didn't
The
read
correspondence,
it.
the email
It's a little
message I got
confusing.
said, don't drop your kids off at the stop sign. Don't drop your kids off on the other side of the road, and don't drop them off in the parking lot.
I would reread that because I specifically looked and it had something in there about older siblings, because
Well, I have older siblings, so I don't have that
No,
option.
you have to really look at it, Jim. I would reread that, just to be
Okay.
sure. Because I know it was a little confusing to me. It took me a couple of times reading it. It's okay to be in the high school out there. If you're a parent, they don't necessarily want you, but they mentioned older siblings. So they didn't say you can't.
I think it's just
Maybe-
important that the school and the police department work together to know
Yes.
which places are appropriate and that that is communicated.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's our job to do, but I think it's
Yeah.
definitely
Right.
a communication between the
It's
school
helpful to
and,
know that you're working together on it.
Yeah.
Because it's been a pain
so the communication happens.
as a parent, yeah.
David, maybe when you talk to the school, that we have that project coming up on Warner Street, if they wanna do some kind of design change on their, the loop or anything
Okay.
that could be incorporated.
And I think
At the
that's
same time,
Yeah,
say
and
for
I,
detail.
that was brought up too, you know, we were talking about, do we let all buses go to the left and everybody else goes to the right?
Yeah, because if the school doesn't communicate properly, then the residents dropping and picking their kids up they're gonna get tickets, because there isn't enough room in that loop, and then it's gonna come back to the police department, and hence it's gonna come back to us.
Even
So
a
it's
turn
still,
lane.
even though it's a school, it's still gonna come back to us.
If you are, like if you're coming from Maine, wanting to take a right into that loop, I've noticed at the end of the day, if I don't get out there quick enough, that I'm sitting on Warner Street.
Mhm.
All the way to the bridge.
Even if they had like a turn lane, that would give just a little bit of an additional traffic, which makes it difficult, because especially now with snowbanks, not so much this year, but last year, there'd be snowbanks, and then you have traffic, and the buses were trying to squeeze through, there just wasn't
We're
enough
not wide
room.
enough there.
It's not wide enough for 4 lanes, is what it came down to. Yeah.
4
it-
lanes would be ideal.
Yeah, it just wasn't, especially if we get any kind of snowbank, it's lost, it's a lost cause.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people there, and I rarely pick up the kids, but when I do, it's because we have to get somewhere. So yeah, it's frustrating, because
Yeah.
we're waiting, and
And they talked about, you know, the possibility of even putting a road behind the schools, you know, and just having just a regular road going back there, and that's where you would do the dropping off and picking up.
the design at North Greenville, I know people aren't crazy about it, but
They're
it
not.
works like a charm.
Yeah.
Yep, it's one single lane you can go through.
Yeah,
And there's the buses that go in one way and the parents come in another way. It is literally one single lane, and 6 kids get dropped off or picked up at once, and all 6 cars move, and then 6 pull up, and
yeah,
yeah.
that would be
Yeah, I
nice
think
if
we're
the-
getting a little
We're
off
getting
center
totally off
here.
topic, but
This
thank you
discussion,
for
you two
working
can carry
with,
on between the two of you if you wish.
I'll just follow up with this, Chris. Thank you so much, though, for working with the school district on this, because I know it's been a really big headache for them, and I know that this was a big headache for you. Thank you.
E, Library Director.
I just wanted to go over some of our end of year statistics. So as of the end of Q4, we had 4,952 card holders. And I dug a little deeper, Peter, because you had asked how many are active. 3,323 of them are active, which is a pretty good percentage
Yes.
of our users. We have 28,227 items in the library, which is a lot. That's actually down from the previous year because we're running out of space for some things in certain areas, so we've had to weed more items than normal lately. In 2019, we had 114 programs with a total attendance of 3,166 people. That was pretty exciting, because it was 3 less programs than the last year, but significant attendance increase this year, which we enjoy. Our e-circs have gone up a lot, by over 1,600 e-circs. That'd be e-audiobooks, e-books. And the DPI is actually considering using those to calculate part of our total circulations in the future. Right now, e-books and e-resources are not calculated as part of our circulations. They're a totally different thing, but in the future, they're looking at counting those, because the libraries are putting money into their system to buy these e-resources. The checkouts should also count. So there's that. I guess in terms of Wi-Fi, which is another big thing, we have a lot of people coming in just to sit and use our Wi-Fi. We have 386 unique devices on the Wi-Fi per month, with an average of 31 devices per day. Which is significant. I mean, people are coming in to use the space, not just to check things out, which we would love them to do anyway, but they're enjoying the space itself. So we're pretty proud of that.
Any
That's
questions for Ally? F is attorney, and he is absent. G, building permit report is submitted in the packet. There is, H is the municipal court report. There is none. 10, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News.
We have a meeting on the 22nd, so that's this coming Wednesday. So I'll have an update at the next meeting.
Okay. B B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District news.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
C, Gold Cross ambulance run report and news is in the packet. D, Hortonville Civic Association.
Only one thing, Nathan, if you would block out October 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll send you an email as a follow-up for the Opera House.
E is the Senior Activities Committee.
We had a subcommittee meeting this past Monday. We have a subcommittee that needs to plan programs and events or brainstorm ideas. We have a full committee meeting next Thursday, the 23rd. And just so people know, they had another turnover with meal site manager, so they're looking for a new one. I put in a plug again for a job share consideration because there were 2 people that wanted a job share. I hope they consider that to provide some stability. I think that's been one of the issues. And then we are also doing a lot of collaborating with the library for senior programs too. And Friends is gonna meet with Ally on Tuesday to plan some programs too. A couple people from Friends of the Library and seniors, so good things happening there.
And 11 is comments and suggestions from citizens present.
I had an inquiry, just, it's not really on topic, so for this. Somebody asked me about the pantry, what the status on our,
It's working.
it's working?
I'm in the process of it. My husband had to finish some stuff, but he was sick over the holidays. So, yeah. I'm hoping to do a rollout again, the Facebook rollout, and then I also saw that the Village Voice deadlines. So there's a hopeful of a rollout.
Okay.
I'm trying to be, how do I want to say? I want to be sensitive on the Facebook because there's going to be people that are seeking help, and then there's people who are seeking to help. So
Yeah.
I want to be certain that there's a real clear line between the 2 types of Facebook pages.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working with Little Shoot on that.
I also mentioned it to the Cub Scouts because they do a food drive for the food pantry in Dale once a year, and then they also do a secondary, much smaller food drive at one of their events, and it's just a local for the members. So I mentioned it to them, and they put it in their notes for next year. So
My husband took all of the rest of his vacation off at the end of 2019 and got sick like 2 days after Christmas, and has still coughing and sick. So
Yeah.
Do you
I heard.
think that it'll be done like end of month, end of
I would say by the end, for sure.
mid-February?
I would say, well, end of January, early February, yes. And I am working also with the pantry just to make sure that they have their specific, that what they do to help, and we don't want to overstep that. This is just to supplement that. So-
Yeah, I just, the 2 ladies that were here presenting it had asked status as well, so
Okay.
I just wanted to.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I just want to mention that we did get a nice letter from the commercial club that they are going to continue to support the use of the commercial club for the village summer recreation program. So that was very nice. Any other comments? If not, we need to have a motion to
Yeah.
adjourn.
Would you entertain a motion to adjourn?
I need a motion.
Also move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
How many tonight?